Now, one of the things you might want to do um, when camping is you find yourself a nice little camp spot, and then you might want to venture out and just see what that area has to offer for you. And I'm going to do an example of that up around Flagstaff, which of course has a world of things to go see. But I'm going to show you some of the lesser known things that might be around there. Of course, I think most of us already know about a lot of the standard kind of stuff that's in northern Arizona. If you just took Flagstaff and started venturing out, you'd find you got the San Francisco Peaks. You've got, of course, the Grand Canyon. Sunset Crater's a fun place to go. Walnut Canyon. Those are both national parks. They cost you a little bit to go to those areas. But I decided to camp at Lockett Meadow, and I thought what we'd do is go see Sycamore Falls, Grand Falls, Meteor Crater, and Strawberry Crater, which are some lesser known areas in and around, lesser known attractions in and around Flagstaff. Now, this is actually the road coming down from Lockett Meadow or going up, obviously, depending on which way you're going. And it offers some pretty spectacular scenery, including a look at Sunset Crater from afar. So the first place I want to take you is a place called Sycamore Falls, which this is a little misleading because this falls does not run all the time. You have to pick a time when the water is flowing, which is not really very often. This particular year we have had a really good monsoons, and therefore there's water flowing in the falls. This is pretty easy to get to. I mean, you can Google it to figure it out, but it's basically off of Garland Prairie Road and from I-40. That's one way, and another way is to come through Williams. But like I say, you can Google that sort of thing. Now, another falls that a lot of people don't necessarily know about is one called Grand Falls, which is out on the Indian Reservation, and I don't know, it's probably 30 miles from Flagstaff, something like that. It's on the Little Colorado River, which of course heads off and flows into the Colorado River. But it's kind of a unique sort of a place. They say, or I've been told, that this waterfall is actually higher than Niagara Falls if you basically count all those little stair-step falls up above them two main ones. Some people call this the Chocolate Falls, not surprisingly. Now, the road getting back in here is kind of tough. Well, I'm not going to say tough. It's actually a good dirt road, but you do have to pay attention to what you're doing. Don't try to cross any big mud puddles or you'll find yourself stuck, I think. They built these little, let's call them observation structures. But it's a nice place to go and just kind of sit and watch what's going on. And again, the Little Colorado doesn't flow all the time. This is the drainage for a good part of northern Arizona, but you pretty much have to catch it during monsoons or when the melt, when you're getting the spring melt over in the White Mountains. Now, another really kind of curious place to go is Meteor Crater. And I'll start with the gift shop. And pretty much any gift shop in northern Arizona is going to have a lot of rocks. Rock displays, merchandise made of rocks and such. And that's because you got the petrified forest and other areas that have pretty rocks, but this gift shop has pretty much, it's a full service gift shop. You got your t-shirts. I'm a big t-shirt guy myself, and of course some books and games for the kids and such. And they have a little area out there where, you know, you could go out and eat a sandwich or just sit down and relax for a while. But the actual crater is, I think, kind of cool. It's a little eye-opening when you think about it, that these kind of things can happen to the Earth. This hole in the ground was not caused by a volcano, it was caused by a rock falling from the sky. And one thing about that sort of thing is, if it's ever happened before, that's almost a guarantee that it's going to happen again. So if you're wondering why NASA now has a huge division that is looking at near-Earth asteroids and such, this is why. And coincidentally, the DART mission that just happened, incidentally, that rock is said to be the size of a house, just to give you an idea of the scale of this thing. But this DART mission is theoretically designed to figure out whether or not they can change the course of an asteroid, which would make a lot of sense. This hole in the ground sort of gives us a reason to believe that's not a frivolous thought. We should support those kind of efforts. There's also a really nice museum in here. I didn't have time to go through it here. This is just one of the kind of little outside the museum displays. It's kind of cool. And, you know, it's worth taking a look at. Now, here's another crater, but this one was formed by a volcanic activity. You got supposedly the loop here is a mile. I figure it's considerably further than a mile myself, but, you know, I Google Earthed it and figured it was about a mile and a half, a little more. I was with my hunting buddies, Don and his daughter Taylor, on this particular trip. And, you know, this is a nice activity when the kids are kind of restless and, you know, getting on your nerves and what have you. Come out and do a hike like this is actually a pretty cool beans thing to do. This is the start of kind of once you get over to the crater and you start going, at first you have to go up quite a ways, and up near the top it starts getting a little bit steeper as you go. But it's really not that bad. Just take your time, and you've got a lot of beautiful scenery to look at as you're walking up. That's pretty much looking out over the power lines. And as you come up over to the inside of this thing, you can see there's just interesting geology and beautiful vistas and such. Now, we did this in August, and as it turns out, the sunflowers and other yellow flowers are starting to bloom about that time of year around here. Rather pretty time in northern Arizona. And I just wanted to give you an idea what the trail was like. Basically, it's cinders, so it's pretty easy walking, and once you've gone through the original up, then it's pretty much downhill with just a little bit of exception. So it's a cakewalk, actually. I always liken this to, well, I've been told that this is like walking on the moon with vegetation. The astronauts trained around Flagstaff for that reason, I guess. The Apollo astronauts. These brown trees you see here are junipers and piñons that have not survived this 20-year drought we've been in here in northern Arizona. It's been a horrible drought that's taken a lot of trees out. And there you see Taylor and Don coming down, and looks like we're having fun there. And then we're down off the crater, just walking on the loop trail to get back to the vehicle. So this is a great hike to do, especially if the kids need to, you know, work off some steam. And we're back to our loop sign, looks to me like. So this is just an example of some things you can do when you're out camping. Might be a little unfair to use Flagstaff because there's so many things you can do around Flagstaff, but pretty much everywhere you camp has something around it might be worth seeing. Go camping.